Good morning. Uh, Professor Amit has set it up very nicely, but I can't do in the style that he does. He is in form. Okay, so I'll try. Uh, I'll start with a small story. Okay, when I was coming in the morning to the institute, I used an Ola taxi. Generally, I end up talking to them. It's a 1 hour drive. The guy's name was Nanjunde Gowda, and he comes from Turvekere. Turvekere is in Hassan district. I was trying to find out his background. He owns about 10 acres of land. About 5 years ago, all the coconut plantation that his grandfather had developed, it dried up because there was drought, and he lost the whole yield, and he was reduced to no income. He went into arecanut. He planted arecanut. Arecanut has a 8 year cycle before it starts yielding, crop that you can put into the market. And in the interim of it, he went into banana cultivation because he saw Bangalore is a very big place. A lot of people use fruits. So he thought that he'll make good money on that. He expected to make about 4 lakh rupees of money. Invested about 2 lakh rupees last year in banana. It was diseased and he lost all the yield. He is now in debt, 2 lakh rupees. And the alternative was he put little more money in investment, bought a car and tied up with Ola, and he is now driving in Bangalore. When you go back today, if you use Ola, talk to the guy. 80% of the time you will find these guys are from Magadi, Chikballapur, Kolar, Hassan, Kanakapura. The story is same. Farm holdings, no water, irrigation may not be there, borewells have failed, they don't get power in the time that they want to do the cultivation or when the plant needs water. They are in debt. They find a way. Bangalore has need of taxis and they are driving taxis. But now we are also talking about autonomous cars. What do these people do when autonomous cars come in? Where do they go next? They had agriculture, they moved into taxi driving, and when they do lose that occupation, where will they go next? Okay, I leave that story with you, and then I go into agriculture markets, trying to see how agriculture markets and technology use is happening in agriculture markets, and questioning whether these are inclusive, the use of technology is inclusive or not. It is a very famous topic today. Every newspaper article shows up something on agriculture. Marches to Mumbai, siege of Mumbai, going to Delhi from a very long distance. People asking for loan waiver, huge amount of discussion on social media why people should be given money just like that. What is the reason? Are these people working at all? Why should the taxpayer pay money to the farmer? Quite a few things. Karnataka government itself, May 14, the election was over. I think the counting was also over. The first thing that they announced was loan waiver. And loan waiver has not yet happened. Announcement happened, people have forgotten, but loan waiver has not happened. I'm not saying I support loan waiver, but I'm just saying to you the gap between what is spoken versus what happens on the ground. You also will see certain headlines like endeavors to double farmers' income. There is a lot of thought going in, many think tanks thinking about how to double the farmers' income. And there are some targets also. You can see our Honorable Prime Minister trying to really push that wheel forward, the bullock cart wheel there. You will also see a farmer dumping tomatoes on a national highway, trying to make a statement that nobody is there to buy his produce. So it's a sector which has huge problems. I didn't put one news headline which is about the suicides. The farmer suicides is not just limited to India. There are a larger number of suicides which happen in China. So we share this problem across many different countries. In the developing world, in Africa, in South Asia, many other countries which are in the developing area. I also have put two more brighter looking news headlines. These are from internet. I chose them purposefully just to show you technology. One of them was launch of e-market by the Prime Minister, use of electronics in market operations, and another is futures and spot commodity markets being allowed to trade in agriculture and increasingly using trading on many different commodities. And obviously both these are what we call as online market. Online obviously means a huge use of ICT. Now, why is ICT agriculture? We are talking a lot about it. The reason we are talking about agriculture is I think I gave you the story. I also gave you a set of headlines there. A huge number of people in the world still depend on agriculture as a occupation. Largely in developing world, I think more than 50% people depend on agriculture. In some countries in Africa, 70% people depend on agriculture. In India, about 55% people work in agriculture sector. It supports about 2.5 billion people. A third of the world's population work in agriculture. Another interesting characteristic of agriculture is 80-85% of the people are what we tag as smallholding farmers. People who have less than 4 acres of land, and largely they can't hire external labor, they provide their own labor, their family provides their own labor. They may have about 4 to 5 heads of cattle in their household, and they may use all their time, energy to grow crops and make money out of it. And these holdings actually are dropping. In India, for instance, in 1970s, the average holding size was about 2.3 hectares. A hectare is about 2.5 acres. And that is today about 1.15 hectares. This could be for a variety of reasons. It could be property division, it could be, variety of reasons, but the land holding is dropping. What it means is you will find the small holding farmers becoming more and more important because their percentage is growing. There is also another common thread which runs in the small holding farmers. The common thread is they are all indebted. They all have huge debts which are in formal sector, debts which are in informal sector. There could be money lenders, there could be banks, it could be any type of debt. There is also poverty, and this is a global phenomenon, and they are also underdeveloped. Underdevelopment is in terms of healthcare, in terms of road infrastructure, in every way you may want to compare, they do have certain shortages. And specifically in India, for example, 93% of the farmers in Andhra Pradesh are indebted. In Karnataka, it's about 75-80%. But that is a story which is very compelling to hear. And also, if you see the small holding percentage in other countries are also very large. In Bangladesh, China, it's a very common story. Now, being that these kind of issues exist, a lot of focus is there from the multilateral development agencies like World Bank, FAO, even the Government of India. All of them are making many targets. The SDG, which came after the Millennium Development Goals, Sustainable Development Goals, it talks about very specific things. Doubling the farmer income by 2030, and this achieved through productivity increases in agriculture. This achieved on very specific areas like proper functioning of market and their derivatives, as well as timely access to market information. I just underline them because those are very important words. And the incomes are very specifically of small scale food producers. The small holders that I call are known differently in different places. Marginal farmers, small holders, they all mean the same thing. And in India, we have a little more aggressive targets, doubling the farmers' income by 2022. And Niti Aayog, which is the erstwhile Planning Commission, they have a very specific path deterministic approach to this also. Very, very technology deterministic there. Enhance productivity and double farmers' income by use of technology. ENAM is Electronic National Agriculture Market, so market focus is common between both, and also better marketing. Better marketing in terms of timely access to market information, etc. So if you see, the key thing here are three things. One is focus on market and on technology. Second is it is not aggregated goals. In the past, a lot of aggregated goals used to be spoken about. Agriculture sector should grow by 10%, X, Y, Z kind of stuff, which were uni parameters. But what they are now talking about is individual development targets, incomes of all the smallholders, not just one smallholder or a percentage, but everyone's income is what is being spoken. Now, having spoken about all that and market and technology, I wanted to give you a snapshot of how a market will look like in terms of a block diagram, a flow diagram, if you will, the way it was and how it is transforming. Because I'm going to talk about in this talk how the markets were and how it is getting transformed and what kind of effects are there from ICT, etc. So the typical market in India and in large part of the globe, in the developing world, is regulated. It continues to be regulated by the government. Generally, the market in India used to be what we call as run by APMC. APMC stands for Agriculture Produce Marketing Commission. Each state has a commission, and they are designated to run market committees. Committee, yes, I'm sorry, I missed you there. And these people are supposed to run the market, as well as there is a set physical space, bounded physical space in which the sellers have to bring their produce and the buyers can come and pick up that produce. The intermediation layer is performed by what we call as commission agents. These commission agents are registered with the APMC. They can do the intermediation between the seller and the buyer. And was there a question or something? And what these people do is the farmers bring their produce in. It is put up for display by the commission agent, and the buyers come in. They give bids. The bid methods are different. Different crops have different bid methods. Some of them are like open outcry method. Some of them use IT process like e-tender, etc. But open outcry is like you have the produce on display, and the commission agent does the auctioning. So he calls for bids. The buyers will come and loudly cry about the price they want to give, and whoever outbids, that guy has the right to pick up the produce. So that is called an open outcry method. So the open outcry is basically to create some amount of transparency that everything is above board. Whereas in the e-tender, these are what is called as closed. So the auction, the buyer puts in a tender into the e-tender application, and the application looks at who has given the highest bid, and it chooses that bid as the bid which has won that particular transaction. But there are certain critiques to this. The critique is that there is inefficiency. There is inefficiency because people have to bring the produce to some physical location. The buyer has to come and pick up the produce from that physical location. When he is moving across states, there are multiple taxes. He doesn't get the permit to move the produce across different states very easily. The commission rates are very different. Sometimes we also speak about long fragmented chains because when you're moving across multiple towns, you have to go through many of these transactions again and again, and therefore the farmer's value when it translates to, let's say, the produce on your table versus what he gets as real income is very low. There is also a critique about infrastructure deficit. For example, in India, we have 30,000 APMCs, and in that, I think they do a square kilometer market per square kilometer. It comes to about 454 square kilometers one market. So a farmer may have to travel as far as that distance. Food FAO has a prescription that a market should be in the vicinity of about 80 square kilometers. So there is a huge infrastructure deficit, and many of these infrastructure deficit, I will talk about it a little later. Maybe addressed through technologies. What is the policy is moving towards? Lack of grading and quality norms. There is very less approach to how to grade and qualify things. No cold storages. You can't store a produce. If you bring to the market, you have to sell it and go kind of stuff. And also there is something called policy distortions. Policy distortions typically talk about interventions by the government in the marketplace. One of them is what is called as a minimum support price. Minimum support price is something that is extended to a farmer, saying that that must be the minimum that a market pays. But in reality, minimum support price actually becomes the benchmark. So it is actually the maximum yield price.
And commissions are generally
6% in Karnataka, it's about 6%. In 6%, which is paid by the buyer, a percentage is given to the APMC for running the services. 5% goes to the commission agent. Farmer is not supposed to pay any commission officially, but there are certain markets where to get your produce to the right front row, to get it in the right place for display, you need to reduce your commission.
And the commission percentages are generally transparent, open?
It's opaque. It's very different for different APMCs. But what happens is on the ground there, it's there written in paper what should be the percentage, but it depends on how much influence you carry. Your produce is displayed in that way. So you do have what is called as some relationships that goes beyond the paper. But on the paper it's all neat. Now when we are talking about transforming markets, now these markets are transforming. These markets are transforming because people have found that there are issues with the existing market. So there is continuous approach to transformation. A lot of reforms have come in. One of the reform is to allow private market yards. Private market yards, one of the good example is eChoupal from ITC. Similarly, there are other purchasing outlets by large agriculture buyers, produce buyers. Direct sales is allowed now. So a seller and buyer can interact without a commission agent outside an APMC and buy and sell things. Contract farming is also allowed. Large companies who may be in agriculture produce value addition can contract a farmer with certain very specific price points and buy it, guarantees, quite a few things happen around that.
So this farming animal husbandry is included?
It comes in agriculture only.
Yes, sir.
Animal husbandry also comes in agriculture. So milk production is part of agriculture. Now there is also increasing use of ICTs. The ICT's increasing use has been primarily in information flows, in disintermediation and on online trading. Mediation was one of the things that they found as a problem in the existing APMC, so they thought that they will use a lot of technology to disintermediate. One of the favorite things that we talk in ICT is to use it for removing the long chain, reduce it, bring the seller and buyer together. That's one of the approaches here also. The market operations, very specifically, we use some applications called e-tender, e-auction. It goes by different nomenclature, basically performs the function of auction. And second is releasing the discovered price. When in the process of the auction you discover price, this price is released to multiple people through WhatsApp, through SMS, on the web, etc. So that people are aware what is the price at which a produce is being sold, etc. The other thing is ICT enabled trading. ICT enabled trading we talk about is in the form of UMPs, unified market platforms. It could also be the online commodity exchanges. I spoke about both earlier itself. eNAM is an example of an online market. NCDEX, MCX, many of those commodity exchanges are examples of online commodity exchanges. Now what is happening because of the use of ICT is one observation is the market's structure is transforming. It's transforming very drastically. The physicality of the market is reducing. Physical is becoming virtual. The markets are becoming virtual, and it is riding on the convergence, obviously internet, mobile, as well as certain things that have happened other than agriculture, online banking. Because online banking has become a very useful thing for making payments, transferring money, etc. So today there are state level unified market platforms. Karnataka is one of the pioneers in this. As of 2014, they started a market called REMS, Rashtriya E-Market. It is a joint venture between Karnataka government and NCDEX. Similarly, National E-Market, ENAM it is called, that was 2016-17. It's in progress today. They are talking about bringing multiple states into it by 2020, etc. Then there are also multiple commodity exchanges. Last I saw there were about 6 of them. These reforms and these ICT enabled transformation on the policy, and when they are stated, their objectives are development of small holding farmers. Basically, the price information is supposed to empower the farmer. The e-tender discovers price efficiently. There is no collusive behavior by the commission agent and buyer, etc., which was one of the critiques of the past. So that has been taken care of, kind of stuff. The UMP and exchanges allows people to reach, the farmer can reach multiple traders across India. Now, in the old APMC, it was only that place the buyer comes, but now you can reach across the country. This is the narrative. Now we will look at how it is actually panning out on the ground. The market structure has changed, so I just thought I'll stack them up in some way, some logical way, and see how they look like. At the bottom, I have the old market. It still continues to exist. You have the private market yards, the e-chowpals and stuff like that. You have the e-markets, the ENAM, the REMS I spoke about. Then you have the commodity exchanges. There is a logic to why I have put it up in this way, bottom to top. That is because the extent of ICT is going up as we look at the market stacked in this way. In the old markets, ICT is limited to certain point applications and also dissemination of price. And as we go up, the unified market platform is having larger amount of IT. It is riding on an online platform. And as you go even further into the commodity exchanges, while the e-markets are limited to the state or to the country, the commodity exchanges have linkages to the global commodity exchanges. And the market is becoming virtual, more and more virtual as it moves on. Importance to information is very high. For example, here, the product has to be there for trading. How much product is there, that much trading can occur. Whereas in the commodity exchanges, you don't need to have the produce, you just need to have a price. If you have the price of paddy, you don't need to grow it. You can just start trading as long as you are a member of the commodity exchange. So the importance of the produce is coming down, importance to information is going up. And the distributed architecture, this is distributed. You can have the market in 30,000 places, whereas this is a single centralized architecture. There is increasing complexity. I think that is very visible. If you have ever tried working on the commodity exchanges, trying to do some trading, it's not very easy. And the class of participants are also changing. While here it is the real farmers, the smallholders, many of these farmers who are in the game of farming, really. As you go up, you will see they are reducing. They are getting replaced by speculators, traders, people who look at farm produce more as a trading item rather than directly involved. It could even be corporates who are working in that area. The norms of trade also are changing. Whereas here a large amount of trading still happens in cash, relationship oriented. In the upper part of the markets, it is very formal, rigid, and it is very contract bound. So to trade in ENAM or trade in the NCDEX, you need to be a member. To trade before, you need to put in some EMD, earnest money deposit. Your transaction is all on RTGS or NEFT kind of transactions. So your understanding of banking, your understanding of internet maybe even English, because some of the portals are available in Hindi, but they're not very easy to use. And your connectivity, while connectivity in the rural is good enough for me to make phone calls or maybe exchange small messages, you can't hold a transaction link for very long. It doesn't support. So those are still some of the issues.
Where are these platforms accessed from?
Internet.
No, where do people access these from the villages? And,
It is supposed to be available for farmers because that is how I can reach the whole trading community in India, but it really has some of those issues. I have a few slides that answers your question on the observation that you made. Yes, in the case of ENAM, there is certain amount of budget that has been set forth by the government of India for training the panchayat level office bearers, as well as to extend it to the farmers. It is there. The budget is there. The model is slightly different. The model is funding from the government for the application and for the training and stuff like that. The state government is supposed to adopt the operation cost. It is also that if the state government doesn't want to adopt an ENAM, they are free to do so. They may use their own market platform also. Like in Karnataka doesn't adopt ENAM. It uses REMS. And ENAM is actually structured on REMS in some way. The issue which comes in from the usage perspective, we'll talk about it in a few slides, but what does happen is large farmers, certain scale of farmers, certain scale of aggregators, people who buy agriculture produce from many people, they have ability to trade. There are certain norms like that. And the small farmers, neither they have the wherewithal to do so, nor the transaction cost allowing them to do that. So I'll move on and maybe I'll answer those questions.
How big is the transaction which is happening right now to these agricultural markets? I mean, not APMCs, but wherever information technology is being used.
See, the Niti Aayog was talking about REMS as one of the successful, this one. They are also talking about how it has made the market efficient and all that. I think about 14,000 crores or something like that was traded on REMS, I think so. ENAM is still not in complete use by
So as a percentage, it's still a minuscule.
It's a very small percentage. It's a very small percentage.
And there is some training infrastructure by the government for the farmers, especially for the small farmers, right? How does that, how is government using that to train on these technologies?
See, there is a budget in the ENAM for training people. They do workshops also. In fact, they circulate it to the panchayat level also. They fix certain days in a month or in a year where the farmers can enroll and actually get training. A very small amount of money, you can get the training done. The interfaces also, I was seeing the ENAM interfaces, they are all very nice interfaces. It's been built much better than the past, this one. So we are talking about two things here. One is the ENAM kind of usage, which is primarily meant for agriculture market. And another is we are talking about the commodity exchanges where trading is happening for agriculture. These both we are talking about. NCDEX, which is one of the largest derivative markets in India, they also have a wing very specifically to bring farmers into trading. That is going on from 2012 onwards. But if you see the reports, 2017 reports, etc., they are finding it very difficult to bring the farmers on the market platform. I think when I go through 2 or 3 slides more, the discussion can be very rounded because some inputs I will be able to provide. Yes. We will take that question up a little later. Yes, they are really new age intermediaries, or some of them are people who are in the agriculture sector because they are having money, capital which is needed by agriculture sector. They are pumping in that money, and helping the sector in terms of exchanging the produce and converting it into money. So I'll talk a little bit about it. Let me go through 2-3 slides. Some of the questions will get answered.
So I just want to understand when all these rent and all the facilities that farmers be registered with the APMC? Is that compulsory? For the
In-
farmers to be registered with the APMC?
In the case of REMS, it is run by through the APMC only. In the case of ENAM, also they can run it through APMC or they can run it without APMC. So that is not it is not mandatory. APMC is not mandatory.
Okay, so what about farmers who are not really, giving the produce to APMC and trying to?
They are what I call as farm gate sellers. They sell informally. There are people who go and buy produce from the farmers. If you go to a village, you will see people gathering up produce from many farmers, and they buy it from them, and then they aggregate and take it to the market.
But
So
that's
many
more
different.
effective, right?
Huh?
Because
Yeah, that's another intermediation that we are talking about.
Just an extended question on that. Is there any pattern of which agency has farmer picked from? Is it still on local or has he moved to intermediate or the private markets? Or is there any pattern where why the farmer is moving or picking up any of them? Or is there any intersection between them? I sell partial of my goods here and there. What is the level of technology introduction with them? Who actually moves? Is there any pattern in that?
Who is able to move up
Correct.
to
And who
the
is still on
large
the ladder?
direction?
You are all very eager. I need 2 more slides to answer all the questions. Bahubali 2. You will know the answer to why the guy was killed by his friend or whatever. So I'll try to answer that. 2 slides. Okay, so now we are looking at it. The stated objectives are all very nice, but we are looking at the transformation and how it is being looked at from the smallholder side. I have taken a few claims and I am giving a counter view on that. One of the claims is that price information increases welfare. Now that is what the narrative is. And also there is another claim by the market operators, by ENAM and NCDEX, etc., that they change the model from make and sell to sell and make. Typically in most of the sectors, I go to the market, understand what the market needs. I come back, come up with an idea and develop something, and then take it to the market because I know there is a demand for it. But in agriculture, it works in a reverse way. I grow something and then I go and find a buyer in the market. So, make and sell is the model that we use in agriculture. What the market is suggesting is sell and make. That means go to market, when you have a good price, go and sell your produce. Commit that in 3 months' time I'll deliver your wheat or whatever. Make that future commitment. Come back to your field, grow that wheat and make good your commitment. This is what is suggested.
Is that possible?
We will talk about it. Then another input is that price information gives real-time information, feedback about how to make informed decision. When do I sell? A farmer can come to know if the price is going up, I'll sell at this point of time. Now this is the claim, but then there is a counter view also, which we have found out from some of the literature as well as from our own work. Smallholders cannot follow a sell and make model. A smallholder cannot follow a sell and make model because his holding size is so small that he only can grow certain type of things. He also has certain limits on the type of soil, the kind of water that is available. So if I want to grow a high return crop, I may not be able to do it because of natural conditions. I may not have access to those seeds. I may want to grow quinoa because quinoa is very expensive, but my land may not permit it, my weather may not permit it. Okay, so that is one of the reasons why a make and sell is the model that is followed. I grow what I know I can grow in my land. It could be even coriander, which has shelf life of not more than 3 to 4 hours in the market, but I still will have to grow coriander. Similarly, price information does not result in any increased welfare, because a farmer who has grown something, he can't hold it in his stock and wait for the price to go up. He needs money. He is short of cash. So as soon as he has grown something, he goes to the market and sells it. Second thing is also the perishability of the produce determines how quickly I want to sell it. Okay. E-markets and future exchanges are steps in right direction. This is a view which is coming in from the policymakers, even the government of India also. But there is also a counter view. E-markets are concentrated in the metros. At least the procurement points are in the metros. Even though everything is online, I still have a physical produce that I need to transport to a procurement point, a godown or a warehouse, and that is very far away. And there is complexity to trade online. It's not very easy to trade online. It defeats many educated English speaking people. It can be tough when you do not have access and practice on it day in, day out. And a farmer's job is not to go on a market and speculate. His job is actually, he grows food better than trading. Okay, and English usage is still a barrier. Hindi, Kannada browsers are all there, but it is not very easy. And introduction of new intermediaries comes into play here. He spoke about intermediaries at different points, but there is also an intermediary which comes in online. In the online, there is no way I know about the quality of the produce. So what happens is there is a new intermediary that we bring in called assaying agency. An assaying agency is an assessment agency which assesses a crop and grades it and says this is the quality of this crop, on which basis an online bidder can put his price, buy it. So that's a new intermediary. Then there is also an aggregator.
Is it prevalent this assaying agencies?
Yes, they are registered on the online market. Assaying agencies need to go and give bids.
And has
They are
been
selected.
successful so far? I mean,
There are issues which are very similar to bringing the produce to the physical market. You have to take it to a point, and if the assaying agency doesn't select your produce, you have to rebag it and bring it back. You can't sell it there because they won't want to buy it. When the online market requirements are put out, they have very limited expectation. This quality, it has to be this size, it has to be this quality, it has to have so much, whatever are the ways we assess the agriculture produce. Then we also have another intermediary called aggregators. Since all the small farmers cannot trade on the market directly, they have appointed aggregators. Now these aggregators gather up the produce, aggregate them, consolidate, homogenize quality, maybe grade it, and then bid in the market. So you have some new intermediaries, which is what was actually the purpose was disintermediation, I thought. Yeah. And another thing, and finally, so now I'm just kind of going to sum up this. The entry to e-market is constrained for smallholders. That is what is our understanding. There are global geographical barriers. You have to move the produce to the assaying agency. You have to move the produce to the procurement point. There are biophysical limits. A farmer cannot grow everything that he wants to grow. This is one of the understanding we have. And size of the land holding also limits the quantum of produce. So if I am producing, let's say, 1 ton of potato, I really don't have money to transport it 400 kilometers and sell in a market where I'll get good price. I will choose a market which is nearest to me and convert that produce into cash as quickly as possible. Then there is also high entry barriers in the ENAM and in the NCDEX. The entry barriers is there because there also some transaction costs are there. A large trader doesn't want to buy from 200 farmers, 1 ton potato each. He wants to buy from one farmer 200 tons. So the lot size is determined. There is a minimum lot size that is fixed. Product grade is fixed because you are an online. You can't touch and feel. Agriculture produce works on touch and feel, so you can't do that. So there is a product grade. It limits certain people. Whoever can grow certain standard things, they can sell. Who doesn't grow that produce cannot be sold. And then there is also enforcement of contracts. I told you, agriculture produce still is largely informal on cash. And access to credit is also very important. To participate in some of these markets, you need to deposit earnest money deposits. It goes up to 5% sometimes. 5% money if I had, I would, you're talking about very indebted people, poverty people, how can they come up with these kind of stuff? So those are kind of things, and it is not just the finding in India, it is also finding by FAO in international this one. So this is how the whole market looks like. Now the farmer has direct access to the old market. He can do contract farming. He can also do trade, work with each of us. But when he wants to go to the e-markets, the ICT, deep ICT ridden markets, he really cannot reach there. That question still remains. And that's where the inclusivity of design, etc., is what we are talking about. So in conclusion, what we are talking about is ICTs have enabled efficiencies in the market. It has made transactions faster. It has killed the distance It has killed certain issues which were there in the olden days when traders could not reach. All that kind of stuff is taken care of. Transactions have become accurate also. Transparency is there in the auction process. But these have not accrued as benefits to the smallholder. That is the issue. But from the view of the smallholder, what we are talking about is in the transform market, in the present design, it doesn't seem to be appreciative of the smallholder needs. His needs are slightly different, and being that they are different, in the present design, he is not able to use that particular technology. And the design in this present form actually reduces the farmer's participation. From olden days to now, it actually reduces. In the olden market, at least he can go, he can see his produce being auctioned, he chooses what to do, what to not to do. He has a satisfaction level. His participation in the supply chain in that market is little more deeper than in the e-market. In the e-market, he may have to sell it to the aggregator and at the farm gate. How different is it from the olden days when the APMC was not there? So that's how I leave there for you to think about it. What has technology done and what has technology not done in its present design. Some references that I've used. Thank you. I'm open for questions. I took a lot of time.